Everybody, and a very warm welcome to Monza, the 12th race of the International GTOpen season. We have got 61 minutes of action to look forward to around the Cathedral of Speed, always one of the highlights of the season, and with just 3 races to go, the championship fight is coming to the Moyle very nicely. Let's hello from Ben Evans as you join us on an overcast but mild day here in the Royal Park of Monza. Large crowd out in force to enjoy the action from this full field of supercars in the International GTOpen of what promises to be an absolutely fantastic race, because qualifying this morning saw Augusto Farfus and Matteo Martin Motorsport BMW taking pole position from Com Ledegaard in the Garage 59 McLaren by just 36 thousandths of a second. It really couldn't be much closer than that. It's also very close in the championship fight. Giovanni Venturini comes into today's race leading the standings by 12 points over Fran Rueda and Victor Bouveng, with Thomas Biaggi third, further 2 points adrift, so 14 points off lead of the championship, with Albert Costa and Philip Fromvilla then fourth in the standings. They're only 15 points off the lead, with Miguel Ramos and Mikel Mack still very much in the hunt. 24 points back, but 45 points to play for over the remaining 3 races. The grid forming up very nicely, and it is a 61-minute race, should add, because that will allow the teams to refuel at mid-race distance, because Monza is a thirsty circuit. Well, yesterday's race saw the Wessex Lamborghini Gallardo of Seb Morris and Craig Dolby coming through to take a victory. It's the car's 3rd appearance of the season, and very impressive drive from Dolby and Morris to take the victory, and they will line up from 6th on the grid. They've got a lot of quality to try and race through, including this man, Mikel Mack, in the Spirit of Race Ferrari that he shares with Miguel Ramos. Mack and Ramos 5th in the championship standings, and Mack was in the hunt for pole position throughout much of the qualifying periods. He shares the front row of the grid with Fran Rueda, and then row 3, we've got Giovanni Venturini in the first of the 3 Imperiale Racing Lamborghini Huracans, and Seb Morris. Heck of a lot of strength in depth. Really, any one of the top 8 cars on the grid could win it, because row 4 is Raffaele Giammaria alongside, and second Imperiale Lamborghini alongside the Emil Frey Racing Lexus of Albert Costa. And there is Giammaria coming to a position, number 1 of course on that car, because that is the entry that he shares with reigning champion Thomas Biaggi. As Venturini's now going to try and pick his way through the very busy grid. Large crowds here in Monza this weekend to enjoy the action. The paddock absolutely buzzing, full of fans, supporters, well-wishers, sponsors. And therefore, the grid looking very busy indeed. So for Giovanni Venturini, runner-up yesterday, he and Marco Mappelli did all they could to overhaul Dolby and Morris. But in the event, they came up just short, despite a late race push from Venturini. And what that means is another podium finish, and therefore the success seconds through the pit handicaps also will start to come into play as well over the course of this afternoon's race, because they've had a very solid run of podium finishes, Mappelli and Giovanni Venturini. So they've got an additional 20 seconds that they will be spending in the pits compared to the mandatory pit minimum time. So everybody in position. The pit lane is closed. The grid will start to clear fairly shortly. Then they will be waved off on the formation lap in the last opportunity to inspect the track, see how it's rubbered in since qualifying earlier on. Full tribune ready to enjoy the action. So the grid now starting to begin to empty out. The countdown well underway and now the drivers can really focus on the job at hand. Quite the job it's going to be. Yesterday was just the first half of the race was nothing but wheel-to-wheel racing. Very, very close dicing throughout the field. They largely, though, stayed out of trouble, and that's what they're going to be hoping is going to be the case again today, because at this point of the year, every point, even if it's towards the second half of the top 10, can be all important in terms of the challenge for the championship. If you finish the race in the gravel trap in the early stages, then that is that. So here is our pole sitter Augusto Farfus, partnering Lorenzo. They're out to Viega this weekend, and the Brazilian was right on it in qualifying. Com Ledegaard then, who starts from second. Garage 59 McLaren, the Pro-Am pole as well for Ledegaard. He and Alex West finishing as runners-up in the Pro-Am class yesterday. Third on the grid for Michael Mack and Miguel Ramos, but it's the very rapid Danish driver Mack who'll be taking to the start. Thumbs up from Mack. Really consistent pace in the race yesterday as well. This could well be a chance for he and Ramos to get back into winning ways. Fourth on the grid for Fran Rueda. He and Victor Bouveng have made victory on Sunday something of their speciality during 2017. They'll be able to score another win this afternoon. Marco Mappelli and Giovanni Venturini adding to the points haul, getting on the podium once more. That's the aim, but with the additional 20 seconds in the pits to overcome, it's going to be an uphill task. Seb Morris and Craig Dolby. Nigel Mustel run Lamborghini Gallardo, yesterday's race winners. They could well spring a surprise. Fele Gia Maria and Thomas Biaggi, two of the more experienced competitors in the field, but an awful lot of quality behind the wheel. So here's how they line up in full then. Augusto Farfus and Com Ledegaard on the front row of the grid. Row 2, Michael Mack and Fran Rueda. Row 3, Giovanni Venturini and Seb Morris. Very competitive row 4, Rafael Gia Maria and the Emil Frey Racing Lexus of Albert Costa. Row 5, Matt Griffin, surely to be a front runner in the Pro-Am class, and Am class pole sitter Gabriele Lancieri. Row 6, Eduardo Liberati's strong weekend in the Raton Lamborghini continues inside the Drovex Mercedes. Then it's Andrea Fontana and Pro-Am championship leader Sean Bow from row 7. Hendrik Still and Nono Figueiredo on the 8th row. Row 9, Mike Bedham and Hiroshi Hamaguchi got very quick co-drivers who'll take over the second phase of the race. Martin Conrad and Mauro Calamia make it an all-Mercedes row 11 ahead of Zelko Dermich and Valentin Pierberg, with Luis Silva completing the grid after we sadly lost overnight the Farnbacher Racing Lexus. Kaspersky Ferrari. So the cars onto their formation lap ahead of this 61-minute race. We have got in-car cameras today with Drovex Mercedes, Van Helmeister and Marcello Hahn. And starting from the midfield, that is going to give us a good view of plenty of action. They're all, of course, on the control compound Michelin tyre, and the pit window is between the 24th and 36th minute of the race. So that is where we will see the element of strategy starting to come to the fore. Giovanni Venturini, who is the overall championship leader, he starts in 5th with Fran Rueda and Victor Bouveng, looking to outscore Venturini this afternoon. The same for Albert Costa and Philip Fromenvilla. Michael Mack and Miguel Ramos likewise. In the Pro-Am class, it's Rob Bell and Sean Balfe in the Balfe Motorsport Mercedes, who lead from Pier Giuseppe Perezzini there, 14 points clear. And in the Am championship, Luis Silva, Antonio Coimbra lead the way. They are a couple of points up on Sergeant Quina and Martin Conrad. So that is the championship position. This Monza circuit, though, always produces some excellent racing, some very close dicing to look forward to. Qualifying earlier was a duel, really, or a shootout rather, between the top 3 cars on the grid. Michael Mack, Com Ledegaard and Augusto Farfus, all at times looking as if they were going to claim pole position. Fran Rueda and Victor Bouveng, such a consistent driver pairing for the whole race duration. Likewise for Giovanni Venturini and Marco Mappelli. They have got success seconds in the pits to overhaul, as do Seb Morris and Craig Dolby. So the field forming up side by side as they get ready for the rolling start here in Monza. It's the red bonneted Teo Martin Motorsport BMW of Augusto Farfus alongside the black and orange Garage 59 McLaren of Com Ledegaard. There's Lorenzo Beiraldiviega, victorious in the Sunday race at Silverstone, our last event. Fingers crossed for the same again. Row 2, it is the black and red Ferrari of Miguel Ramos and Mikel Mack. And then Fran Rueda taking the start in the blue bonneted Teo Martin Motorsport BMW. We've got the brace of the green Imperiale Racing Lamborghinis behind Craig Dolby and Seb Morris's Lamborghini Gallardo as well to watch for. This is going to be a lot of fun as they get ready now for the rolling start. The field bunching up, waiting for the lights to change on the gantry. Who's going to anticipate the start this time around? We'll find out as away we go in Monza once more. It's a very good start from further back from Martin Conrad, who's jumped about 4 rows as they fan out 3 wide, heading towards the Rettifilio for the first time. Everyone jinks into position, but it's Farfus who's got the advantage just over Ledegaard. Then Fran Rueda from Mikel Mack. Seb Morris also well up. Eduardo Liberati goes shooting straight on. Couple of crunches, but nobody in too much trouble. Mauro Calamia also straight lines the first chicane. The Imperiale Lamborghinis sweep through, and it's Raffaele Gianmaria who's got the jump on Giovanni Venturini as they head through the first sector. Farfus from Ledegaard, then Rueda, Mack, Morris, and the rest of them. Albert Costa up to 6th. Oh, with a problem. Martin Conrad crunches into the Armco barrier. We've also got Andrea Fontana and Eduardo Liberati in trouble, but it's Conrad who sadly picked up the most of the damage. The MS Racing Mercedes made such a good start. There you see Andrea Fontana, bits of Lamborghini being shed in all directions. Not leaving anything more than a little bit of debris on the track. So he tries to limp round back to the pits. The car's almost certainly going to pick up a puncture as a result of all that. Meanwhile, Gianmaria ahead of Venturini. This isn't dissimilar to what happened to Andrea Fontana, Vito Postiglione yesterday. Damage to the front splitter. It's a bit more substantial. Meanwhile, Farfus has got Ledegaard right behind him, then it's Rueda and Mack. Seb Morris doing battle with Albert Costa. Fellow Gianmaria 7th, Giovanni Venturini in 8th. And Costa's got a good run here on Morris as they come out of the Parabolica. Morris gives Costa a little bit of racing room as the pair of them sprint side by side towards the Rettifilio. This could well be advantage Albert Costa, though. He's got the racing line. And he should sneak past on the brakes. Indeed he does. The Imperiale Lamborghini's behind, having a little bit of a sort out. Gianmaria, though, keeps Venturini behind him. Then it's Gabriele Lancieri and Hellmeister, Matt Griffin, Mike Benham. Sean Balfe just gets demoted by Zelko Dermich. As into the pit lane comes Andrea Fontana. It's going to be a new tyre, certainly. There's waved yellow flags in play over the Parente della Roggia. Eduardo Liberati, we've also lost completely from proceedings. As Farfus under real threat now from Com Ledegaard. Ledegaard and Alex West, victorious at Monza 12 months ago in the International GTOpen. McLaren has been a very hot prospect so far this weekend. Let's another look then at what unfolded. It's all in the background as you see, Conrad tagged into the wall then spears across the track through no fault of his own. Fontana gets tagged and then torpedoes into Eduardo Liberati. I suspect Conrad's car was already damaged by that point. It's Weston Duncan Tappy. Fortunate to see their cars emerging unscathed. Really unfortunate for Andrea Fontana. In Eduardo Liberati, completely innocent in all that. So the field settles down. Championship leader Giovanni Venturini, currently in 8th place, already 5 seconds off the lead, running behind his teammate Raffaele Gianmaria, and Gianmaria's co-pilot Thomas Biaggi, 3rd in the championship, only 14 points drift of Venturini. A little bit of damage as well to the front of Giamaria's car. The leading quartet beginning to open up some daylight over the rest of the pack. They all slow down into Filio. Matt Griffin gains some ground, and Griffin up into second place in the Pro-Am class as a result of that. To help Pier Giuseppe Perezzini's challenge for Pro-Am honours. Mauro Calamir rumbles through in the SPS Automotive Mercedes, currently up ahead of his teammate Valentin Pierberg, as Augusto Farfus heads Tom Ledergaard. Radar right with them, then Mikkel Mack in fourth. It's leading group of cars they can. They'll aim to start to gap the field. Fifth is St Morris, sixth Albert Costa. They've got Chrysler Lamborghinis in seventh and eighth. Gabriele Lancieri, the leader of the AM class, will hand over to Fu Song Yang mid-race. In ninth, as again Venturini looks to try and line up the move on Raffaele Giammaria. And really the challenge here for the Imperiale Lamborghinis is the pace at the front of the field. As Farfus tries to stretch clear, it's a four-way tussle for the lead. Mikkel Mack, fourth place, lost out to Fran Rueda at the start. Through to race Ferrari, well poised, no additional pit handicap time either for he and Miguel Ramos. Slight gap back now again. Giovanni Venturini looking to try and get the run on Raffaele Giammaria. Likewise, Matt Griffin chasing down Gabriele Lancieri. We go in car with Albert Costa. And the Emil Frey Racing Lexus as a change, and Venturini slides to the inside of Raffaele Giammaria. So Giovanni Venturini gains the position, moves up into seventh. Now he's released to see what he can do about the Lexus up the road ahead of him. Costa's advantage, just over a second. Still waved yellow flags. Ferrante della Roggia, there you see why. Snatch vehicle still about to move back into position, but the cars have been, by and large, cleared from the scene of the incident. Morris just lays down the rubber through Lesmo 1 into the second. Right-hander just can use the camber a little bit to his advantage. Albert Costa right behind him on the sprint towards Ascari. Andrea Fontana, sad to report, still in the pits. Here as if we've lost all three cars from that first lap incident. Just 7 minutes into the race. Gabriele Lancieri under pressure from Matt Griffin. Griffin trying to make progress up the order as the leading quartet, much as they were, but beginning to open up a little bit of daylight over the rest of the field. Augusto Farfus set the fastest lap of the race last time around. Mikkel Mack has set the fastest middle sector of the race this time around. They're all running in the low 1 minute 48 second bracket, except for Augusto Farfus, who goes quicker still, and 1 minute 47.9 means that Farfus now 1.2 seconds up on Com Ledergaard. So Farfus, Lorenzo Beirao de Viega will find themselves in contention for the victory a little bit later on. Lancieri comes under threat from Griffin. Both of these very experienced campaigners in the wheel of Ferraris and international GT racing. Griffin trying to pursue the SF Racing Ferrari through Curva Grande. Still waved yellow flags though, the Variante della Roggia, so nothing that Griffin can do about Lancieri on this occasion. A pair of them flip-flop through the chicane. I just wonder if Raffaele Giammaria is struggling a little bit, because he's dropped some way back immediately from Giovanni Venturini. Venturini in turn looking to get onto terms with Albert Costa. Lancieri just uses a big bite of AstroTurf. So does Matt Griffin. They've got the Drivex Mercedes as well, just behind them. Leading quartet now, some 5 seconds clear of Seb Morris in 5th. So we focus on this battle for 9th and 10th position. Griffin, headlights ablaze. See what he can do. Ledegar tries to close back up to Augusto Farfus. Mikel Mack staying in the mix as well. Mack and Ramos had a really difficult time of it at Silverstone, having been pace setters at both Paul Ricard and the Hungaroring. Mack right on the pace, trying to stay with the leading quartet. All of them in the low 1 minute 48 second bracket. So whether or not Mack is going to be able to try and overhaul, we'll see. And the Hellmeister, meanwhile, at the wheel of Mercedes. You can see Matt Griffin just ahead of us, and Gabriele Lancieri. They're about to catch up to Raffaele Gianmaria. Just wonder if that damaged front splitter to the car is causing Gianmaria a few handling issues and the like, because he was significantly slower than those around him last time around. He was about 6/10 slower than Lancieri and Griffin. Meanwhile, here comes Giovanni Venturini in pursuit of Albert Costa. Costa trying to get back to Seb Morris, but it is Venturini who is the man to beat. The Imperiale Racing Lamborghini, in terms of pace at the moment, absolutely flying. Not quite the same speed as Farfus, the race leader. Farfus through Ascari, Ledegar with him. The leading quartet just beginning to drive away from each other. Long towards the Parabolica, this towards the end of the 6th lap of the race. Already approaching, getting 10 minutes into it as well, as swooping through out of the Parabolica, leading quartet of cars. And Farfus, another 1 minute 47 lap. Com Ledegar sets the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 47.979. So he's able to run with Farfus at the moment. Rader and Mack still staying with them. It's now 3 seconds from Mikel Mack in 4th, back to Seb Morris in 5th. Morris has then got Albert Costa and Giovanni Venturini appreciably closer. Then we've got that train of cars next along behind them. Gianmaria, Thierry, Griffin, Hellmeister. None Figueiredo going very strongly. He's up into 12th at the moment. As the Imperiale Racing pit wall watch the progress of action out on track. Now there is a good challenge coming from Giovanni Venturini. He's right up with Albert Costa. And the Emil Frey Racing Lexus Acosta was in the points yesterday, never looked like being in podium contention. They're a team that are very good at playing the long game. For the race strategy, they know they've got a beneficial success second situation for today's race. So really the task is to try and stay as close as possible to this leading group of cars as we head into the mid-race pit stops. While Gianmaria has got Lancieri and Griffin now really snapping at his heels. Matt Griffin, possibly of this trio, is the quickest. The Grovex Mercedes still in close contention as well. Then there is a big gap back to Nona Figueiredo. Mike Benham then in 13th place, she's ahead of Mauro Calamia, Hiroshi Hamaguchi. Just through the Parabolica, Griffin in the turbulent air of the very similar Ferrari 488 in front of him. That's part of the challenge. Multimark GT racing. If you're up behind a car of the same mark, it's just going to come down to some very minor differences in setup as to what you can do to overhaul your rival. Brakes into the Retifilia, you can see, well, Gianmaria just skittering a little bit over the surface of the track. Shows how hard he's pushing. All calm on pit walls at the moment. Mikel Mack now starting to get a little bit closer to Fran Rueda. Just wonder if Rueda may have made a slight error coming out of the Retifilia, because Mack is as close to the Spaniard. He has been really since the very start of the race. Is this an opening for the Spirit of Race Ferrari? They head in towards Lesmo 2, a long run towards Ascari, which will possibly suit the BMW, an opportunity to maybe break away from Michael Mack, but Mack is taking the benefit of the toe directly behind Fran Rueda, letting the BMW punch the hole in the air. Matt running right behind him. Is he close enough to challenge into Ascari? He's certainly trying to force the mistake from Fran Rueda, but nothing doing. Spaniard hits the apex, gets good exit speed. So does Michael Mack, the Ferrari 488, beautifully poised in pursuit. Danish driver as well is aware that Farfus and Leatherguard just beginning to eke away at the front of the pack. So on the brakes they come, swooping into the Parabolica. Big ask of the aero grip, big ask of the tyres from both of them. They get the grip they need, sprint through, complete lap 8. Is Matt going to be close enough to challenge into the Rettifilio? We can see it looming in the distance. Farfus already slows the car down, so does Leatherguard. In the McLaren, Mack a car length too far distant. Might try and force an error from Raider on the exit of the Rettifilio. Nothing doing. Tony Coimbra watches from the Sporting U. Garage as Raider coming under sustained pressure from Michael Mack. Again, Mack not quite close enough as they jink through Verente de la Roggia. That slight drop in pace from Fran Rueda last time around. It also means that Seb Morris and Albert Costa in the group behind going a little bit quicker now than Fran Rueda and Michael Mack. In the distance, Morris, he's now just 2.5 seconds adrift. That gap is going to close down very, very quickly. Rueda's just forced to defend a little bit from Mack. Race leader Augusto Farfus arrives into Ascari. Leatherguard there or thereabouts. Fight for third and fourth. Pretty much conjoined now. Just half a car length or so adrift for Michael Mack. But he's not able to do anything about the BMW through Ascari. Is he going to be close enough to threaten en route to the Parabolica? The camera angle foreshortens a little bit. Ferrari hidden behind the BMW. Mack looks, he's not quite near enough. Steadily approaching the mid-race pit window as well. It's going to open when there are 36 minutes left on the clock, so just 8 minutes' time. Fran Rueda having his work cut out by the surging Ferrari. Now this is looking a little bit better from Michael Mack as they head towards the Rettifilio. Is Mack going to be close enough to have a little bit of a nibble? He's not, but he is close enough to force Fran Rueda to go slightly offline on the way, and it means the BMW is slow on the exit of the Rettifilio. This is the best opportunity that Mack has had so far. Can he draw alongside the BMW through Curva Grande? No, he can't. Can he maybe challenge into Monte della Roggia? That's the next challenge. They're just a little bit more to the middle of the road. Of course, the GT3 cars, they've got the benefit of ABS braking, which makes life a little bit easier for them. So Bear out of Viega, warming up, ready to take over from race leader Augusto Farfus. Bell, doing much the same. Preparation has been handed the Balfe Motorsport McLaren. Mack, as he has been for the past couple of laps, absolutely poised on the tail of Fran Rueda. They're both lapping in the 1 minute 48.5 second bracket versus 1 minute 48.2 last time around from Seb Morris. As a result, Morris starting to close up. Albert Costa still under pressure from Giovanni Venturini. Those cars not swapping places just yet, but still we've got the leading 7 cars. They're covered by just shy of 10 seconds. A big gap back to Gia Maria in 8th place. The Parabolica once more. Michael Mack staying as close as he dares to the tail of Fran Rueda. Is he going to be near enough to launch a bid this time? Watching for them come past the commentary box. There's a car and a half length between them. No more than that. It may well close under braking into Rettifilio. And this, well, Mack certainly thought about it. He's just frustratingly for him, probably half a car length distant really of where he needs to be. The same can be said for Gabriele Lancieri and Matt Griffin. Their attempts to pick their way past Raffaele Giamaria. So we're almost 20 minutes into the action here in Monza, the 12th race of the International GTOpen season. Augusto Farfus, our race leader, 2 seconds up on Com Ledegaard. Then it's Fran Rueda in third, just from Michael Mack fourth. Seb Morris is fifth. Sixth is Albert Costa. Seventh, championship leader Giovanni Venturini. Eighth place, Raffaele Gianmaria. Ninth, the AM class leader Gabriele Lancieri. And in 10th, it's Matt Griffin. Follow the fight between Albert Costa and Giovanni Venturini, the Imperiale Racing Lamborghini Huracan in pursuit of the Emil Frey Racing Lexus. The front splitters just grind off the track surface. The bumps in the way into Ascari. And this fight for third through to seventh is all starting to close up on itself, because Venturini, of that quintet, last time around, was the fastest by a huge amount, but just enough to keep them all honest. Seb Morris, yesterday's race winner. Lamborghini Gallardo trying to pursue Fran Rueda. That lap, a little bit of a better one for Rueda. Just able to build a buffer fractionally over Michael Mack. Back in car with Alan Helmeister to the wheel of the Drivex Mercedes. And Brazilian can get a sense of how close he is to Matt Griffin. He's not going to be near enough to challenge Griffin. Griffin again. A little bit tight to the tail of Gabriele Lancieri as the pair of them bump through Rettifilio. Third and fourth, sprints out of Ferrante della Roggia. Seb Morris caught in the middle as now Giovanni Venturini right onto turns with Albert Costa. This is as close as the Lamborghini has been for the past couple of laps, and Venturini wants to try and get the jump on the Lexus because he's got 20 success seconds in the pits, which means that the Lamborghini is going to come down some way down the order when Marco Mapelli gets behind the wheel. What we haven't had this weekend in any of the races is anything like the field spread that we've had in a couple of the races earlier on this year, which means that the top 11 cars separated by just 19 seconds, the top 20, or top 19 rather, separated by 52 seconds, potentially leaves the door open for some of the pro drivers in the second half of the race to make a little bit of ground. Mack just taking slightly wider. He was hoping higher velocity run through the Parabolica, looking to try and threaten Fran Rueda. As the pair of them blast through. Mack a little bit nearer to Rueda. He's going to force the BMW, maybe to cover a defensive line. Really, Mack needs to be another couple of tenths closer, and he's not. He certainly gets near enough to the BMW to cause him some grief through the Rettifilio. The pair of them get the power down. Exactly the same point, so the gap remains precisely as it was. That last lap a little bit slower from Rueda. It means that Seb Morris inches ever closer in fifth position. Fascinating battle, this one. So little to choose between them in terms of the gaps. Right out to the gravel for Michael Mack. He's using every millimetre of road available to him. Meanwhile, Lancieri defends from Griffin. Almost tries to attack Raffaele Gianmaria to boot. Now Griffin gets a good run out of the Ferrante della Roggia towards Lesmo 1, but he can't draw alongside Gabriele Lancieri, so the SF Racing Ferrari turns across, maintains that 9th place. Matt Griffin currently second in the Pro-Am class to Com Ledegaard. Ledegaard and West, by the time the pit stops are shaken out, this could work out very nicely for them. Meanwhile, contact between Zelko Dermic and Luis Silva. Millimetre to millimetre stuff. Dermic just about retains the position. And as Ledegaard, or as rather as Rueda and Mack have battled, means they're now 5 seconds adrift of Com Ledegaard. So far for Com Ledegaard, just at the top of the picture. Now some way clear. It's going to really help Lorenzo Beira de Viega and Alex West, when they take over, post pit stops, the pit window is going to open in just 1¼ minutes time. So at the end of this next lap, they'll have the opportunity to peel in the pits if they so desire. Mack has now really been joined by Seb Morris. They're going to have Albert Costa with them before too long as well. Curva Grande as Hellmeister looking to try and overhaul Matt Griffin. Griffin out over the edge of the curb, just drops a couple of wheels into the gravel, kicks up a few stones. On towards Ferrante de la Rogia for that group, out and on towards Lesmo 1 in this fantastic fight for third position. Exactly what you want to see. BMW versus Ferrari versus Lamborghini versus Lexus versus Ferrari into Lesmo 2. Then the sprint towards Ascari. Into the pit lane, a little bit prematurely for Antonio Coimbra and Luis Silva. I make it, they've made that pit stop. Well, maybe not. Also in is Thomas Locale and Valentin Pierberg. So they get their change out of the way nice and early on. The pit window now officially open. Matt closes up again onto Con Ledegaard. Headlights ablaze. Turns into the Parabolica. Seb Morris running just behind. Oh, and a big slide there from Mikael Mack. Caught in the dirty, turbulent air behind Fran Rueda. As they pound through. None of that quintet ducking to the pits on this occasion. Towards the Rettifilio. Is anybody going to be close enough to challenge? Doesn't look like it. Morris thought about it, didn't he? Behind Mikael Mack. Just dancing the Gallardo over the surface of the track. Meanwhile, Hiroshi Hamaguchi through the second Lesmo. That may cost the Japanese driver a position in the Pro-Am class. Sean Balfe running up just behind him. Max Coleman was juddering under braking. Venturini looking to the inside of Albert Costa, and this fight now really coming to the boil. They've not got many laps left to sort themselves out. Amazingly, they're all still staying within 10 seconds of the race lead as Mike Benham comes into the Garage 59 pit box. Duncan Tappy will take over from him. Benham out, Tappy in. Likewise, Sean Balfe out, Rob Bell into the Balfe Motorsport McLaren. Pro-Am Championship class leaders, they've got a slightly longer pit stop as well as a result of all of their successes in recent races. So we're going to have a very different looking order by the time the pit sequence has worked itself through. To say that for Augusto Farfus, Lorenzo Beirao-de-Viega, this could work out really quite nicely for them. Similarly for Fran Rueda and Victor Bouveng, Mikael Mack and Miguel Ramos. 7 cars, all covered by just 9.5 seconds as Fran Rueda peels right into the pit lane. Also in is Seb Morris. So the quintet becomes a trio. Kamak flashes his headlights in acknowledgement, possibly to say that he will be in next time around. Teo Martin Motorsport Mechanics get to work. Rueda moves himself and his seat insert from the car. Straps in the slightly taller Swedish driver, Victor Bouveng. Car comes down off the air jacks. Likewise, Morris out. Craig Dolby hops in to the Lamborghini. And it appears as if they have got some brand new, or very nearly new, Michelin tyres to see them through the second half of the race. So Craig Dolby might yet be able to push hard late on, which would be fantastic to see. Meanwhile, Duncan Tappy back up to speed. He's emerged from the pits just ahead of Mikael Mack, Albert Costa and Giovanni Venturini. Away now. Just wonder at what point You might see Venturini ducking into the pit lane to hand over to the experienced Marco Mappelli. In fact, it happens right now. So Venturini, the championship leader in, Mappelli to take over from him. As we just about approach half race distance. Farfus and Ledergaard continue on their way. Duncan Tappy. Mikael Mack right behind him. Not ideal for Mikael Mack at all. So Mack now tips him into the clutches of Albert Costa. Venturini and Mappelli switch places. Still Augusto Farfus unable to shake off the attentions of Com Ledergaard. It's been like that really throughout the course of the race. It's been absolutely nip and tuck stuff between the pair of them. Really enjoyable to watch. Although Farfus has always just about been able to keep his nose in front. Sprinting on towards Ascari. Race leaders here in Monza, the 12th race of the season. Oh, and a problem there for Nono Figueiredo, the sporting new Mercedes. And that is a tyre that has cried enough. Hopefully he's not been unduly delayed by that. Or maybe he has been, because there's part of the Mercedes on the run towards the Parabolica. So disappointment then for Figueiredo. Nonetheless, Marcio Basso got a good opportunity to score a good result in the AM class today, as the race leader, Augusto Farfus, peels towards the pits to hand over to Lorenzo Beirao de Viega. It's all a bit crowded. They've got the sporting new Mercedes parked immediately in front of them as Farfus swings into position. The team get to work. Very well drilled, the Teo Martin Motorsport mechanics. Farfus out, Beirao in. And still Mikael Mack behind Duncan Tappy, and Tappy's got absolutely no reason to allow Mikael Mack through, because this is a car that he might well be racing a little bit later on in proceedings. It means that Mikael Mack is losing a couple of vital tenths of a second per lap. The same arguably goes for Albert Costa, accelerating on towards the Ferrante della Roggia. Slow the cars down, pushing through. A ride over the curbs on the exit for Mikael Mack. Those that have pitted, it's Victor Bouveng, who, for my money, has emerged at the fore of that queue. Now here comes Lorenzo Beirao de Viega. Now where is he relative to Victor Bouveng? Bouveng is currently in the middle of the third sector on the lap, and looks, for me, as if Lorenzo Beirao de Viega is going to emerge, and he's going to emerge with a reasonably comfortable advantage relative to that of his teammate. So is this going to be a second victory of the season for Lorenzo Beirao de Viega? Still a couple of cars yet to pit in. Com Ledergaard, the new race leader. Mikael Mack and Albert Costa, the second and third cars in this train. Second and third cars in this race. Costa leaving it until deep in the window as Mikael Mack decides to head towards the pits. Let's hand over to Miguel Ramos. We are in car with Hellmeister still doing battle with Gabriele Lancieri, Matt Griffin and Raffaele Gianmaria. Mikael Mack rolls all the way along to hand over to Miguel Ramos. There's a race Ferrari squad again, very, very well drilled. You can see the amount of brake dust coming off the tyres when the mechanics get to work with the air guns. Here's a job well done by Mikael Mack. It's going to give Miguel Ramos the opportunity maybe to challenge for a podium, because here is Lorenzo Beirao de Viega. Of those that have pitted effectively, he is the race leader. He's got a good gap as well over Victor Bouveng, 5.7 seconds for Lorenzo Beirao de Viega over Victor Bouveng. Here Giuseppe Perezzini taking over from Matt Griffin as well. It's just Com Ledergaard, Albert Costa, Raffaele Gianmaria And a couple of others who are yet to have made their mid-race pit stops. Ramos still in the pits, half watching from as Ramos rolls down the pit lane now, just as Lorenzo Beirao powers past him outside their commentary box window, and Ramos is going to be third on the road by the time they come out of sector one of those that have pitted. The race leader, Com Ledegar, is going to have to come in at the end of this lap. Heads out of the Parabolica, peels into the pit lane. Alex West poised and ready to take over from him. Also in, almost certainly, is going to be Albert Costa. He is. Hand over to Philip Fromenvilla. Rafael Jim rear, likewise Thomas Biaggi. Mechanics get to work. Garage 59's squad. Let's get strapped in by Ledegar. Here is a car that, by the time all these pit stops are shaken out, may well be the effective race leader. Lorenzo Beirao. He had victory, of course, in race 2 in Silverstone. His teammates Fran Rader and Victor Bouveng, winners of the Sunday races at both Paul Ricard and the Hungaroring. The Teo Martin Motorsport team getting a great deal of benefit from the second race of the weekend. Here's the leading trio of Beirao, pursued by Victor Bouveng, then Miguel Ramos. Craig Dolby's about 12 seconds back, but quicker than all of them, as Lorenzo Beirao heads out of the Parabolica. Here comes Alex West down the pit lane, and the Garage 59 pit box right at the end of the pit lane. West comes past me now and accelerates on his way just as Lorenzo Beirao is going to power past. And West is going to be in second position and comfortably the Pro-Am class leader as he files back into the racing line. So this is going to be absolutely fascinating because the leading quartet is covered by best part of about 7 seconds, I'd suggest. Give you the full order as they come through the first sector. Miguel Ramos is as well just behind Victor Bouveng. So the classification is Lorenzo Beirao leads the way. Alex West is second. Third is Victor Bouveng. Fourth is Miguel Ramos. Fifth is Philip Fromenvilla. Sixth is Craig Dolby. Seventh is Thomas Biaggi. That top 7 covered by 21 seconds. Eighth place is Marcello Hahn, second in the Pro-Am class. In 9th place it's Marco Mappelli, and in 10th Fu Song Yang, the AM class leader. So that is current classification. Beirao lead over West is 5 seconds. West is only 1.4 seconds up from Victor Bouveng. And if you cast your mind back to Silverstone, start of September, you'll remember that we had a not dissimilar conclusion to the race, which was Victor Bouveng chasing his teammate down in the latter stages, but unable to overhaul him. There's potentially some points to play for as well for Bouveng. He needs to try and overhaul Alexander West if he possibly can. Now this is Marcio Basso, the Sporting U Mercedes. The remedial work through the pit stops maybe not being as effective as hoped, as Marco Mappelli gains a couple of places, moves to the inside of Marcello Hahn, having already passed Fu Song Yang. So West busy defending from Victor Bouveng. The prize for Bouveng, you can get past West, is another 2 points in the championship. That would bring he and Fran Rueda up to 92 points for the day. Marco Mappelli and Giovanni Venturini currently on course for the 3 points that they would get for 8th position. Still just be keeping Venturini and Mappelli in the lead of the championship, but victory for Rueda and Bouveng might well bring them onto level pegging, and once you bring into account drop scores, could do even more than that for them. First of all, for Victor Bouveng, he's got to find a way past what's been a very, very effective and rapid McLaren so far this weekend. Lorenzo Beirao, his lead continues to extend. It's now 6.7 seconds over Alex West as West and Bouveng pick their way through the Ascari chicane. Where can Bouveng make the move on West? Possibly to the Parabolica. Meanwhile, Philip Fromavilla and Craig Dolby go side by side, as indeed do Bouveng and West. And Victor Bouveng to the inside of Alex West takes second position on the way into the Parabolica. It looked like it might be on as they came out of Ascari. Nonetheless, West still leads the Pro-Am class from Perezzini and Duncan Tappy. Long towards the Rettifilio. West still right up behind Victor Bouveng. The question now is, what can Victor Bouveng do about Lorenzo Beirao de Viega? Because as it currently stands, 12 points for Bouveng and Fran Rueda for second position. For Marco Mappelli, he's currently in 8th, and that would be 3 points, and that would leave, once you bring drop scores into account, Giovanni Venturini just 1 point clear of Rueda and Bouveng in the championship. If Victor Bouveng and Fran Rueda were to take the lead of the race, and Mappelli unable to make any further progress, then drop scores would actually propel Rueda and Bouveng effectively to the lead. Lots to consider. Meanwhile, Miguel Ramos in pursuit of West as well, swinging through Ascari. The other car then really need to consider here is Craig Dolby. Dolby has made that move stick on Philip Fromavilla, and Dolby in the Wessex Lamborghini. We only saw Seb Morris doing 1 run in qualifying earlier on, and I just wonder if they've got a slightly advantageous tyre position to some of their rivals, and if so, just how hard Craig Dolby is going to be able to push. Meanwhile, here comes Rob Bell to the inside of Marcello Hahn, or not. Hahn, in the event, does the job for Bell anyway. Runs a little bit wide. Rob Bell on the exit of the Rettifilio, able to power past, while looking to bolster those Pro-Am Championship points, himself and Sean Balfe. The lead of Lorenzo Beirao de Viega, 7.2 seconds over Victor Bouveng. Bouveng not closing in by any sort of margin at the moment on the Portuguese. Miguel Ramos trying to chase down West. He was 1.1 seconds quicker than Alex West last time around. Again, there's another couple of points into play here for Miguel Ramos if he can get up into 3rd position. Craig Dolby, meanwhile, is a second quicker than all of them, and at that rate of capture, the sort of pace that Craig Dolby is running, he would certainly be in the mix for a podium by the time they get to the checker flag, and a little bit more. Here's Fusong Yang, the AM class leader, SF Racing Ferrari. He's got a reasonably comfortable class lead as well over Antonio Coimbra, given some of the challenges that have befallen other AM class runners. Augusto Farfus, fingers crossed on the pit wall, with reasonably good reason, because all the while Lorenzo Beirao de Viega is actually stretching his lead over Victor Bouveng. This is a car that has been plagued by bad luck this season. Lorenzo Beirao de Viega, he's got about 9 more laps to navigate. As he accelerates through. 1 minute 48.7. Elevation and pace from Beirao de Viega as he picks up the momentum. Victor Bouveng, a little bit slower, gives away 3/10, so he is very solid in second. Meanwhile, Miguel Ramos is alongside Alex West as they head towards the Rettifilio, and Ramos possibly is going to move clear of West here. We'll see momentarily. There is Bouveng. But the Ferrari, yes, there it is. Miguel Ramos has made the move on West, so Ramos goes 3rd. It's an extra 10 championship points for him. So that would be bring him and Mikkel Mack up to 78 points. Prone Rage Victor Bouveng on to 92. Giovanni Venturini on to 95. It's all very close, plenty to play for. It's West still staying in the wheel tracks. Miguel Ramos as Giuseppe Perezzini coming under pressure from Duncan Tappy. This is for second in the Pro-Am class. It's for 9th overall, and that's a great move from Tappy. If he can pull it off around the outside of Giuseppe Perezzini, he goes through the Curva Grande, moves back across, covers the racing line. Beautifully done from Tappy. We didn't see the start of it, but we saw the end of it. So Perezzini gets shuffled down. It's third in class. The driver who is next in pursuit of him is Vitantonio Liuzzi in the Triple F Racing Lamborghini, and Liuzzi is a good second lap quicker than Perezzini as well. Is another place that could possibly change between now and the flag. Duncan Tappy, meanwhile, 11 seconds adrift to Marco Mappelli, and Thomas Biaggi sets off in pursuit of the Italian pair. Thomas Biaggi, Marco Mappelli, currently racing teammates, separated by just 9/10 of a second. And here it is, both fighting for the championship as well. Biaggi currently third in the standings. Venturini, Mappelli's co-driver, leading the way. Thomas Biaggi is not going to be inclined to just leave aside and allow Mappelli through. They're busy scrapping over 7th and 8th position. As Mappelli looks the inside of Thomas Biaggi into the Rettifilio, and through he goes. Biaggi, no option but to allow him past. It's another place gained, it's another championship point as well gained, crucially, for Giovanni Venturini. Build his buffer out to 4 points at the top of the standings based on the way the race is currently poised. Marco Mappelli. The next target is Philip Fromenvilla in the Emil Frey Racing Lexus, and based on the pace so far from Mappelli, another look at the pass, then there's every possibility that he might be able to get a jump on the Lexus as well. Gia Maria, which is pensively from the pit wall. As race leader Renzo Beirao de Viega continues to extend his advantage at the front of the field. Through the Parabolica, so Farfus watches on. Philip Fromenvilla and Albert Costa currently in 6th position. They're looking at potentially an additional 5 points for their troubles this afternoon. That will still keep them comfortably in the championship mix. Craig Dolby, though, I have to say, is the wild card in all of this. Dolby is now within just 3 seconds of Alex West, and with 15 minutes to run, Dolby could yet get onto the podium as he pursues Miguel Ramos. West just in the background, and Dolby on that last lap, a 1 minute 47.9, almost 2 seconds quicker than Ramos. As former champion Miguel Ramos navigates Curva Grande in pursuit of Victor Bouveng. West, the Pro-Am class lead, still with him, and there comes Craig Dolby, the Wessex Gallardo, absolutely flying in the background. This is what Craig Dolby wants to do from the weekend. They've got nothing to lose. So the possibility of another podium is something they're really going to go for. 13.25 minutes to run. Beautifully tense race here in Monza. And a race with plenty of intrigue as we head towards the final event of the season, the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya as well. Here is Victor Bouveng, second in the championship. He's, as things stand, going to close within just a handful of points of Giovanni Venturini. He could close to even more if he can get anywhere near his teammate Lorenzo Beirao de Viega. He's in the background. Craig Dolby right with Alex West. Dolby in the Gallardo sitting behind the Garage 59 McLaren. And Dolby might even go for it into the Parabolica. He's almost near enough. Just thinks better of it. Tries to force West to defend. And He's successful in doing that and then takes a really tight line. That's a brilliant move from Craig Dolby. If he can pull it off, the pair of them scream out of the parabolica side by side along the start and finish straight. And Dolby secures the move, goes fourth, and now is still a second a lap quicker than Miguel Ramos. He's only 4 seconds adrift of Ramos. He's a second a lap quicker as well than Victor Bouveng. He's got probably 6 laps to go here, Craig Dolby, and at the rate he's currently running, that would be enough for him to potentially make life a little bit difficult for Victor Bouveng. Front of the field. He's over the ripples in the road, on the brakes towards chicane, flicks his way through. This does as well. In 6th place it's still Philip from Villa. 7th place remains Marco Mapelli. 8th, Thomas Biaggi. 9th is Duncan Tappi. He is 2nd in the Pro-Am Class 2 West. 3rd is Pier Giuseppe Perezzini, but being caught very quickly by Vittorio Liuzzi. So far today, the Pro-Am class looking very good for the Garage 59 McLaren squad. Here comes Dolby, pursuing Miguel Ramos. More scraps behind Marcello Hahn, wheel to wheel with Robert Lucas in the Porsche. Lucas might fancy his chances into the Curva Grande. They got, as well, Robert Pampanini just behind them. Lucas trying to get his nose in front. They're closing up as well onto Fu Song Yang. Song Yang still leader of the AM class, as through goes Lucas, makes the move stick finally. Roberto Pampanini at the back of that train, one of the 2 SPS Automotive Mercedes. In car with Marcello Hahn. Is Lucas to the inside of Fu Song Yang, and Hahn goes for a gap as well that was barely there. Opportunistic stuff there from Marcello Hahn. Great riding car as he scythed to the inside of the SF Racing car. Here, meanwhile, is Miguel Ramos. 3rd position. Craig Dolby just 2 seconds back. Second, 1.1 seconds quicker, Craig Dolby, last time around. The gap from 1st to 2nd starting to come down a little bit as well. Victor Bouveng trying to close up to Lorenzo Beirao de Viega. Mind you, Beirao de Viega in and amongst the traffic, winning the lap on Hendrik Still. Then we have to Bouveng, Ramos, and then Craig Dolby. Is 2nd place really on for Dolby? Is 3rd place really on? Pushing as hard as he dares in the Gallardo, enjoying himself immensely. This is a position that Miguel Ramos will need to hold on to, just to make sure that he is there or thereabouts when we head to Barcelona. He gets past, it's going to cost him a couple of points. Ramos still running a very good pace. 1 minute 49.2s. It's quicker than the race leader, Lorenzo Beirao de Viega. The problem is it's just not quite as quick as Craig Dolby, as he accelerates out to the parabolica, puts up the throttle, uses the momentum of the Ferrari. 1:48.9 for Miguel Ramos, so 1 minute 48.5 for Craig Dolby. Ramos elevating his pace, a little bit nearer to Victor Bouveng as a result. Well, here is a replay of that move we saw in car with Marcello Hahn. Absolutely no gap there, but he goes for it. Fu Song Yang has to concede. Roberto Pampanini also gets the benefit of it once more. In car, you see Robert Lucas going for it. Half a gap. Beautifully instinctive there from Marcello Hahn. The race leaders all closing up on each other. 8 minutes to go. 12.5 seconds cover them. Doesn't really threaten Lorenzo Beirao de Viega's lead. It certainly threatens Miguel Ramos' 3rd position. It possibly affects Victor Bouveng's 2nd place. It really depends if Craig Dolby can get up to turns with Miguel Ramos and how quickly he can pick his way past him. We've also got some traffic in the form of Hendrik Still, or rather Paul Scheusner, Conrad Lamborghini. Schoisner. To have this fight for second place bearing down on him. Meanwhile, Vitantonio Liuzzi is now just 3.9 seconds back from Pier Giuseppe Perezzini in the fight for third in the Pro-Am class. Also change between now and the flag. Gallardo sings through the Parabolica. It's 1 minute 49.3 from the race leader Bear out. A 1 minute 49.4 from Victor Bouveng as he's bottled up behind Schneusner. A 1 minute 48.1, 49.4 from Ramos. A 1 minute 48.1 from Craig Dolby. Schneusner, I'm not sure he saw Victor Bouveng. He moves across him. He delays the BMW through the Rettifilio. Frustration for Victor Bouveng. Craig Dolby, though, now getting in amongst a little bit of the turbulent areas. Flashed headlights from Bouveng. So Marco Mapelli is now right up with Philip Fromavilla as well. So potentially all change in the top 10 between now and the flag as Schoisner now gets passed by Bouveng. This is going to be a challenge, an unwanted one for Miguel Ramos. He's getting in amongst a little bit of traffic this late in the race. 6 minutes left to run. So we'll have 3 more laps at the end of this one. Craig Dolby snapping at his heels. The headlights from Miguel Ramos. What he'd really like now is Paul Schoisner to just jump aside, back off the pace, allow this gaggle of cars through. Wave blue flag for Schoisner. It buys Victor Bouveng a little bit of breathing room. He was 2.6 seconds up on Ramos through the first sector. It's going to be a little bit more, I think. Let's come out the second one. Down the back straight they come towards the Parabolica still. Schoisner sticks to the racing line, sticks to his racing pace, and it means that Craig Dolby's now got every opportunity to challenge Miguel Ramos as they head through the Parabolica. Ramos really needs to clear the Lamborghini. Should be able to do it now on the run towards the Rettifilio. Pulls out the bubble, pulls alongside. Does exactly that. It's Craig Dolby also closing up. Meanwhile, this is the fight for the AM lead. Antonio Coimbra to the inside of Fu Song Yang, and Coimbra gets past, sneaks the position. It's Antonio Coimbra, Luis Silva looking set for another victory in the AM class as Craig Dolby sides past now, but he wasn't able to make the move before the Rettifilio gets back onto the tail of Miguel Ramos. There's still only 2.6 seconds adrift of Victor Bouveng, 4.5 minutes to run. Through the chicane, on towards Lesmo 1. From Villa and Marco Mapelli are absolutely locked in battle as well. They head into the Variante della Roggia. This fight for third heads into the second Lesmo. Challenge for Dolby now. He's into a little bit of turbulent air behind Miguel Ramos. Leader Lorenzo Berra de Viega turns through Ascari. Victor Bouveng, 8 seconds adrift, but more solid points heading his way. Fight for third, nose to tail pretty much. As the Ferrari of Ramos accelerates out of Ascari. Long towards the Parabolica. Headlights ablaze from Craig Dolby. They're about to go in to the penultimate lap of the race as Dolby looks to come out of the bubble. Maybe thinks about the challenge into the Parabolica. Shows himself to the inside of Miguel Ramos. Tries to force the Portuguese into a mistake. Ramos, of course, will have absolutely none of that. Far too experienced for that sort of trick as the pair of them flash through. Just 0.3 of a second between the pair of them. Dolby in the tow behind the Ferrari may well challenge. As they head towards the Rettifilio. Ramos looks to try and defend to the inside line, but he can't do it. And Craig Dolby goes past to the inside of Miguel Ramos, but out, breaks himself, runs wide. Has to bounce back across the sausage curbs and will do it all over again. Meanwhile, behind, Philip Fromavilla to the inside of Alex West. In the background, Fromavilla goes 5th. West slips to 6th. Marco Mapelli still part of that group as well. So many battles to close out in the latter stage of the race. Pier Giuseppe Perezzini, meanwhile, has been passed by Vitantonio Liuzzi for third in the Pro-Am class. Here is the Fromavilla, West and Mapelli battle. Alex West remains class leader, trying to get back onto terms with Philip Fromenvilla. They've got, then just behind them, Marco Mappelli, championship leading car. It's another look at what happened with Craig Dolby. Just in a little bit hot, couldn't get the car slowed or turned in time. Realised that if he turned across, there was potentially going to be contact with Miguel Ramos. See just how tight to the inside Craig Dolby was. He tried to move across to at least partially square off the exit. Wasn't happening. Dolby back for another run at Ramos. They're about to start the final lap of the race. It's been a really fantastic weekend of racing here in Monza from the International GTOpen as they accelerate through the Parabolica. So Berardiega is through. He leads the way. Victor Bouveng in second. Dolby and Ramos, nothing between them. Again, Craig Dolby looking to try and light the move on Miguel Ramos. This time he's too far distant. Forces Miguel Ramos, though, to cover the middle of the road. Ramos runs a little bit wide. He's going to be slow out of the Rettifilio. But he's just about able to block out the Lamborghini Gallardo. Now, into the Curva Grande. How tight can Miguel Ramos hold his line? Further back, Mappelli also passed West, so Mappelli goes 6th. Another point in the championship for Venturini as Ramos tries to defend from Craig Dolby. They're elbow to elbow on the brakes into the Variante della Roggia. Ramos gets the car stopped in time. Uses all his experience, so does Craig Dolby. Now, Ramos must cover the inside line for the first Lesmo. He does. Dolby looks one side, then the other. Ramos takes the racing line. Squirts out towards Lesmo too. It's going to be harder work for Craig Dolby. Again, he just forces Miguel Ramos slightly offline. The Portuguese, though, slows the apex speed. Tries to thwart the pace on the exit of Craig Dolby. It means the pair of them run nose to tail towards Ascari for the final time. Fantastic scrap this. Again, Ramos covers the inside line towards Ascari. Dolby's got the outside line. It's going to be tight. Ramos slows it down. Again, just blocks out Craig Dolby, but it's all about the exit speed now towards the Parabolica. They both take big risks, hopping over the curbs, and Ramos is going to have to defend. Lorenzo Beraldiviega turns through the Parabolica for the final time. He and Augusto Farfus are going to take victory at Monza in the International GTOpen. It's the win for Lorenzo Beraldiviega. He celebrates. The Teo Marti Motorsport team celebrate another one too, as Bouveng and Reda take second, and Miguel Ramos holds on for third. He and Mikael Mack complete the podium just ahead of Craig Dolby and Seb Morris, with Philip Fromenvilla and Albert Costa to 5th, ahead of Marco Mappelli and Giovanni Venturini, with Alex West and Com Ledegar 7th, and the Pro-Am class win. Thomas Biaggi takes 8th. Duncan Tappy makes it a 1-2 for Garage 59 in the Pro-Am class, as he and Mike Benham finished 2nd in the class. But delight for Lorenzo Beraldiviega, Augusto Farfus, another beautifully managed race in terms of strategy for the Teo Marti Motorsport team. They rightly celebrate on the pit wall. Another fantastic race. So much drama and so many twists and turns once more. It's going to make for a very interesting championship position as we head towards Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya at the end of the month as well. Just 2 races to go in this year's International GTOpen Championship. Giovanni Venturini is going to leave Monza as the championship leader, but Fran Reda and Victor Bouveng are going to be right up there in terms of threatening the Lamborghini in the points as we head to Barcelona. Miguel Ramos and Mikael Mack are still in the hunt as well. As the last couple of cars take the flag. The paddock celebrations about to get underway. So the victory for Lorenzo Beraldiviega and Augusto Farfus, fastest lap as well to complement the pole position. Runners up, their Teo Marti Motorsport teammates, Victor Bouveng and Fran Reda. Miguel Ramos and Mikael Mack complete the podium from Craig Dolby and Seb Morris in 4th. Albert Costa and Philip Fromenvilla in 5th, ahead of Giovanni Venturini and Marco Mappelli. Com Ledegar and Alex West win the Pro-Am class from Garage 59 teammates Mike Benham and Duncan Tappy, with Hiroshi Hamaguchi and Vitantonio Liuzzi completing the Pro-Am podium and the top 10. means that Pier Giuseppe Perezzini and Matt Griffin finishing 11th ahead of Valentin Pierberg and Tom Onslow Cole, with Sean Balfe and Rob Bell in 13th. AM class honours to Antonio Coimbra and Luis Silva ahead of Fu Song Yang and Gabriele Lancieri. Fortunately, we lost Andrea Fontana, Martin Conrad and Eduardo Liberati early on. So in terms of the championship then, Venturini 5 points clear of Fran Rueda and Victor Bouveng. Albert Costa and Philip Fromavilla only 14 points back. Thomas Biaggi and then Miguel Ramos and Mikel Mack, the top 5 cars all covered by just under 20 points, with plenty to race for in Barcelona. This is to be an absolutely fantastic weekend. The end of October, it's been a brilliant weekend here in Monza as Lorenzo Berau de Viega celebrates with Augusto Farfus. Goes to celebrate with the team. Mechanics all delighted, rightly so. Always very special to have a team 1-2. Lots of congratulations, lots to celebrate. Miguel Ramos likewise high fives with the Spirit of the Race Ferrari team. It's been a much better weekend for Miguel Ramos and Mikel Mack this time out in Monza. Congratulations between the teammates. Lots to debrief and discuss. Really tense race. We'll hear very shortly from our race winners, Lorenzo Berau de Viega and Augusto Farfus.
Lorenzo Berau, Augusto Farfus, Lorenzo, second win of the year. Happy?
Well, very happy. Yeah. I think yesterday we didn't have much luck, so today I think we did a good job. I think we deserve the win, so I'm very happy for this, very happy for the second win. Hopefully in Barcelona we can do the same.
Augusto, and you? Is the first win in the GTO.
Yes, I mean, my first appearance, we didn't have enough luck to bring it home. Today, everything went very smooth. Lorenzo did an amazing job to bring the car home, so extremely happy for him and for Theo Martin.
Well done, guys, and it's 1-2 for Theo Martin, so it's perfect, especially when he's not here.
Exactly, we couldn't ask for more. The team did a great job, especially on the pit stops, and the car was amazing today. So very happy for all of us, and very happy with the team and the job we did.
And I see the new generations are ready. Podium now.
From the lights, it was Augusto Farfus who jumped into the lead as Com Leathergart drew alongside him as the field raced towards the Reto Filio for the first time. Looking to gain ground off the line, it was Fran Rueda who was able to sneak ahead of Mikel Mack as they turned through the opening complex. While behind, Eduardo Liberati went pounding straight on. Unfortunately, Liberati's race was to be short-lived. Martin Conrad got squeezed off the road. He then tagged Andrea Fontana, who in turn cannoned in to Eduardo Liberati. It's all very congested midfield. Unfortunate incident. Drivers okay, cars rather less so. Front of the field, we had a leading quartet comprising of Farfus out front from Leathergart. It was beginning to stretch the field as more problems for Marcio Basso as the race unfolded. Post pit stops, was Lorenzo Beirao who emerged in the lead ahead of Alex West and Victor Bouveng, as Marcello Hahn had a superb move on Fu Song Yang. But it was Lorenzo Beirao and Augusto Farfus who took the win ahead of Victor Bouveng and Fran Rueda. Teo Martin Motorsport 1-2, with Miguel Ramos and Michael Mack completing the podium. Alex West and Com Ledgard winning the Pro-Am class. Antonio Coimbra, Luis Silva, once more the Am class winners. Celebration time, therefore, for Teo Martin Motorsport. Lots to celebrate then on the Monza podium. So third place to Michael Mack and Miguel Ramos. Runners up to Bouveng and Fran Rueda. And race winners, Lorenzo Beirao and Augusto Farfus. National anthems complete, on to the presentation of the trophies. Very hard fought third place for Ramos and Mack. Really fine drive late on from Miguel Ramos, Victor Bouveng and Fran Rueda. Another excellent pool of points that leaves them very well poised as we head towards the championship finale. The second win of the season for Lorenzo Beirao, this time partnered by Augusto Farfus. Celebration on the top step of the podium. 6 very happy drivers in what's been an absolutely fantastic weekend of racing. We are back in action, of course, as the champagne flies on the 28th and 29th of October, which will decide the destiny of the International GTOpen Championship. It's going to be a fantastically close and tense pair of races. Celebrations for the outright race podium completed. We turn our attention to the Pro-Am podium, and again, a very close battle. It was Antonio Liuzzi and Hiroshi Hamaguchi who claimed third in the class. Runners up, Duncan Tappy and Mike Benham, making it a Garage 59 1-2. Then Alex West and Com Ledgard. It's been a good weekend for West and Ledgard. 2 podium finishes for them in the Pro-Am class, the only driver combination able to achieve that.
Who this is? Yeah. Do you know who the fuck you're talking to?
Apologies there for any bad language you may have caught there on the ambient sound, as drivers about to be announced on to the rostrum. So they've been rounded up. It's a charging drive in the second half of the race from Antonio Liuzzi. He and Hiroshi Hamaguchi haven't had the easiest of seasons, but another Pro-Am podium for them. Cheers at the Garage 59 McLaren mechanics as top 3 combinations work their way out to the rostrum. Delighted Ledgard and West to the top step of the podium. It's been a really good weekend for them and the Garage 59 team in general. The presentation of the trophies. Third to Hamaguchi and Liuzzi. Runners up, Tappy and Benham. I think they enjoyed that. And class winners, Leathergar and West. Celebrating in Monza. That's going to bring them into contention for the Pro-Am Championship in Barcelona. So we will see you on the 28th and 29th of October at the Circuit de Barcelona and Catalunya. Until then, from Ben Evans in Monza, it's goodbye. We'll now turn our attention to the AM class podium. And again, another weekend of excellent racing in the AM class. So runners up, Gabriele Lancieri and Fusong Yang. And class winners, Luis Silva and Antonio Coimbra. Good weekend for the Sport and U pairing. So good to see Fusong Yang getting a good result in the SF Racing Ferrari. It's a sterling drive early on in the race from Gabriele Lancieri. Coimbra and Silva celebrating. They hoist their trophies aloft, and the AM class title fight will go all the way to Barcelona in 4 weekends' time. Until then, it's time to say goodbye from Monza. We'll see you in a few weekends.